Good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and wherever you listen to this series of knowledge series from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back. Rick, please go to the session of the people who are with us and bring all the KF lines 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as a panelist. We welcome you back to a new cycle of teaching. Today, for the first time, we interact during the teaching directly with the soul of the knowledge seekers. I have put on a panel in the back. If you have a headphone, use your headphone. And if you don't have a headphone, try to be somewhere in the system that you can hear like a stereo and you can have a joint link with us. We are testing a new cycle, new way to teach. In a way, we are still one missing, number 4, please. There's one unit 4 to come up. We are testing to bring you all to learn how to interact with the central energy of your system, your body, and at the same time to run what we call repair parallel system. What does this mean? Every part of a system has to be perfect for it to be able to transmute, for it to be able to reach the point or what we call the understanding of how to travel the span of the universe. Today's teaching is part of that process, which we used to do every Friday, once a month, with knowledge seekers. Today we are testing something very interesting that we would like to see how you feel, how you test yourself, and how you change and affect your change in the next days, coming weeks, and the rest of it. How more easily you can reach to understand the difference between the dream and reality, and what is actually yourself. If you have any problem, please do not listen to the teaching of today, because this teaching is controlled by us very much in parallel with all the teachings of the past, which means we are dictating the terms of changing the inner energy. In a way, we are interfering with the cycle of understanding of yourself by yourself. You will understand exactly what I'm talking about, but knowledge seekers who are familiar with the work of the Keshe Foundation, you've been in many sessions, use your headphones and enjoy the trip. And let us know how you feel. Let us know how you understand different than any other teaching of the past. We have over 3,000 lines available on the channels that people can join if there are other knowledge seekers who want to enjoy the trip.
Mr. Keshe, sorry to interrupt. There's a question: are wireless headphones okay?
Try it. If you don't get interference, try it. This is, we did not announce this beforehand, as we didn't want to get people coming in and just be there. We wanted to knowledge seekers who are always here to listen. But what will be interesting is those of you who listen afterwards. If you get the same effect through the emotion of the fields, and how this will bring changes to you in many ways. Do you suffer from Alzheimer's? Do you suffer from anxiety? Do you suffer from what we call addiction? Do you have problems in balancing? Do you have any kind of physical changes? Do you have skin rashes? Do you have eczema? Do you suffer from what we call anxiety attacks? Do you have asthma? Do you see any kind of condition which you might see Observe them, because this is not a medicine. This is in the way you're repairing yourself. We have developed the technology to reach the man in space. And now, today, we test it to see how many of you actually become recipient and how you interact with yourselves. We do not add anything, we do not do anything, we do not feed medicine or anything. It's just that we have created the environment for conditions that you are not aware of, but you always live within. This comes part of the teaching. This is part of what we said about the time, place, space, and position, and intellect and enlightenment. There is a cycle of knowledge which man has not understood, but man has full information about it, never been put in the sequence of the events. This is the way what we do today is a parallel to what will happen on the 19th of July in Vienna in the conference, in the presentation of the technology to reach beyond the boundaries of the human knowledge. What is important for us is to understand how we create time, connected to the physical side, which is the place, position, and possession, and to the energy side, which is the emotion, intellect, and what we call enlightenment. Mankind has to understand the connection between the two and the link between the two, where the emotion is the link between the world of physicality and the world of energy. How does this work? We know it, we do it, and we just been there. We never had to understand it. But now we have to understand it because it creates a time. Physically, you have the place, the position, and the possession. Place in the womb, position, child, position. Two messed up, mixed up plasmas, two different characteristics coming together, and you have the physical side. The emotion side comes from the love of the man and a woman who want to create that child. And when, and does not matter being aware of or unaware of dimension of the soul, lead to creation of the child. The time starts. The physical place, position, and possession cannot come into leading to existence of life if the emotion is not there, the love to reproduce, to set up, to be done. It does not matter if it's done by consent of we love each other, we want to make a child, or any other conditions, forced and unforced, not known, but the souls are aware of, even though physicality is not. Because you have to understand, when I got accidentally pregnant and accidentally we didn't plan happened, does not exist. Because up to now you ignore the energy side. What did you do? What is the plan for that child to bring the changes in the future? And what you've done, that plan is set by the soul. I got raped and I got pregnant. What was the reason and what is set for the future? The soul have decided. Now you understand, nothing is accidental. The time is chosen by the souls. The physicality executes the time. At the same time, even if it's a love child, we want to have a child, the two sperm and egg, which got nothing to each other, from two different bodies, come together. And then, when that soul is created, that time when the child will be born physically, will have and has effect on the future of the life of the souls which have created it. So we say 9 months and so whatever, that's a position. But that position cannot come into unless emotion is set into it. Now we see how the emotion on the energy side, we call the soul side, dictates even the second, the moment that you are created. One day before, 2 weeks later, there is a reason. Because it's set to the energy side. It's like the spring and the autumn and the winter. Earth cannot do anything. It's set by the sun. Earth is just a carrier. If you move the earth slightly different that way, there will be no summer, no winter, and the trees and the plants have no what we call control over it. It's the same. The soul of the planet is the sun, dictator of the condition. So the time is dictated by the fields and not by the manifestation of what is the physicality of the earth and the seed and what they possess in them. This is the same story as today. You're all subjected, you all are open to receive the energy through what we give you through the headphones. And then let's see what you deliver in dimension of physicality. Today's session is so close to creation of time that we, in the coming time, show you exactly what we're going to do with it. And this month, July session, you will see the change in transmutation. We bring you to the dimension of the nearness to your soul, that you decide how to interact. We create the condition, you bring in the time. This is why the time of the man, I will go there for lunch, and I do this next year, and I do this next day, is man's time. You have not considered the time on the energy side, which is the soul of the man. The what we call intellect, what we call the understanding of the science of life on the energy side, has not been understood by the man. Enlightenment is not just by understanding something, is by what will happen in the condition of the energies of the side of the universe, not the physicality of the man. You commit a crime, your grandchild will pay for it. Who kept the book? You? You're already dead when the grandchild is born. The soul has kept the book. The energies which your misconduct has created the emotion of is keeping the book. The time of judgment is not with the dimension of physicality. The time of judgment is kept by the book of the soul. The energy side, untouchable. You think you did something behind a closed door and nobody knows? Your soul is there. It takes the time. And then you watch years later, days later, something goes wrong. Says, how did it happen? Why this happened to me? Because you thought you chat a mistress on the line, but the soul was aware of the harm up to the wife. Tick-tock. An accident, damage to you, doesn't hurt no one. All it does is the reason for the others to be involved according to the dimension of the energy of the time of the soul. Now you understand that time is not in the hand of the man's physical dimension. You can choose the time when you wake up. You can choose the time when you go to this work. You can choose the time what you do. But the consequence of what time you wake up and who you do harm to, who you bring pleasure to, is kept by the book of the soul. The time is set by them where to come. Is not destiny. It's dimensional. The time set by the book. In real life, man will understand totally how life will change if he understands that it is always present, omnipotent and in presence by the soul of the man, watching the physicality of the man. What do you do, how you do, the way you do, and how you interact. Now you understand where the time of the energy side, which connected to the emotion with both, affects the time of the physicality. There is no time if you don't do wrong to create that time. Now you understand where and how you affect the timing of your life in the actual timing of your energy, what you call the soul. That motion you make in the dimension of physicality, which creates an emotion, will affect how you understood from intellect of what your physical doing creates the condition for it to enlighten the soul of the man what to do with you in the time to come. The day of judgment is set by your soul, not by God and not by the God knows fire and the honey and the milk. Your soul serves that fire, your soul serves that honey according to your own conduct. Having thoughts to do wrong is already through the emotion which created in you what pleasure that wrong will give you, registered by the soul, and the decision how to see the reacts of it will come. Now you understand, time is not set by the man, time is set by the soul of the man. Then you understand even the creation of the child, 9 months, is set by the possession, but the delivery of the time is set by the soul of the man, when the two souls agree to. The understanding of the totality of the life is to understand both times, the time of physicality and the time of energy, and how the two are connected. One is a bookkeeper and one is the book. You do not decide on how your future life will be if you do not understand the reality of what I call the memory bank of what you've done and what emotion you have created, that soul through his intellect and his what we call enlightenment enlightens you later. You set the fire of the hell for yourself. You set the fire of joy for yourself. Because you only think I did it behind a closed door, nobody knows. Unfortunately, that hidden energy known as the emotion of the man, known as the soul of the man, is always with you. It's the only one you cannot fool. You close your eyes and you plan. The soul is already writing the book of the future for you. You type something to hurt someone, you do something to hurt someone, Does not matter. The book is already written by you, typed on the phone, written by the soul. Enlightenment of what will happen to you in the future. Many of us understand this. Go back to the writing of the Christ. Even gloating is forbidden. You cannot have fancy thoughts of others when you think it's just in your head. The soul has already registered. Misconduct does not come by the action. Misconduct comes through the thoughts. And the soul is aware of the emotion that thoughts has created. Then it's intelligence, and then it's enlightenment, lightens you up to what happens in the future. This is how we give ourselves cancer. This is how we bring our lives to an end. This is how there is no accident, because the souls have already written the book of the man for the man. Now you understand. The time, physical time, is partially in your head. The true time is in the hand of the energy side, what we call the soul of the man. The enlightenment, the action. The ones who keep two timers have to live with two times. One day I was in Frankfurt airport years ago, and I saw an Iranian girl behind the cashier. I gave her €100. And then I changed my mind. I have less notes. Then I gave her €20. In her mind, she gave me back change for €100. I said to her, lady, coincidentally she was Iranian, and I understood, I explained to her, you made a mistake. She said, no, I'm correct. I said, you know something, I sit on that chair, you count your till, because I get more money from you, I can put in my pocket and walk away, but tonight you have to pay from your wages and you become somebody stealing from the till. I said, she bothered. When she had no customers, she opened the till, she counted, says, oh my God, I made a mistake, thank you very much. I said, if I take the money, I have to pay 4 times more. Why should I do this? I have to spend energy how I took money from you. I have to spend how to spend it. And then you lose money, and then I have to pay for you. This way, you are correct, I'm correct. I live at peace. Because I don't want to pay future time. I have to work 3 times more to pay for your losses, plus what I've spent time to steal from you. She said, can I give you a drink free? I said, no, then you steal from your boss. I'm happy. I got what I want. I paid for what I want. We have to be aware of time. We always time it with 12 o'clock, 24 hours a day. The soul works. Universal time never ends. How you understand why we teach about time? Because if you understand the time, if you understand the effect of the 2 times, that they have to work together to be one time, then man will survive the span of universe. You cannot lie to go and see a mistress when you can transmute, when a wife is at home, has no food to eat. Soul will not allow it to happen. It's not the Keshe Foundation technology that doesn't work. It's you who haven't understood the technology of your own life. The truth about timekeeping has to be correct in all times, both in the physical and in the energy side, the soul of the man. Now you understand. It's not time for us to clock in 24 hours. It's time for us to understand that time never stops and it always leads to its own destiny through the dimension of the energy side of the man and not the physical dimension of 24 hours of the man. The real time is the time of the soul because it's, in a way, is sequentially in parallel and in line with the rest of the times of the others in the universe. The soul of your wife, the soul of your child, the soul of your boss, the soul of the cat in Africa, and the soul of the man on the moon. This is why I always said we live a schizophrenic life of physicality and energy, and we never understood the energy side. We never come to comprehend the totality of the reality of what life is, what time is, and how time is dictated by our emotions and our behavior in the dimension of physicality. Because the bookkeepers know exactly what time to bring in what is needed. Then you understand why we have problems in the cycle of life with our children. The way they are born, the diseases they get, the condition they bring to us, and then we watch the joys is the expansion of our soul. And the sufferings and the way they suffer is a combination of time of the soul of my conduct, my wife's conduct, my child's conduct, and others who I did wrong to, and my fathers and forefathers did wrong to, that the child has to pay for. Then, if you love that child, why don't you stop doing wrong that that child does not need to suffer that pay for your time? Because what happened, the soul kept a book of the time, not the man in the 24 hours of the day of his life. Then you understand when we say the time comes that there will be no crime, because man will understand that it works in the time of the universal link of the energy and not the time of the physicality of waking up and sleeping and the rest of it. Why is this important? Because when we become man of space, even in the dimension of physicality, sleeping 24 hours a day, waking up 12 o'clock in the morning has no meaning once you're in space. Which time did you choose? Why you're still stuck to the tradition of the village you came from when you live in the city? Do we go to sleep 8 hours a day in the space? No, the time is irrelevant because we receive the energy from the universe. Would man ever sleep in the space? More or less, no. What you see in the movies, sleeping quarters, does not exist in no UFOs who understand the work of the universe, because it's a Chinese system. There are no holidays, everyday work, 9 to 5 in Europe, 24 hours in China. We have introduced the Saturdays and the Sundays and the rest of it for benefit of our prophets and profit makers of religion. You go to China, it's open 24 hours a day. You never end. The life, it goes on. There's no Saturdays and Sundays, and there is no weekends and the rest, unless they made you to. It's the same as the work of the plants. They have no weekends and no holidays. They work 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. Spring, let's bring the leaf, make the fruit, go to sleep, and then store some energy for the next time. Man takes as much breaks and holidays and sleep time in the space as man, as the plants does, and the universe does. Now you understand how we dictate the time by condition of our own conditioned life on this planet. But the souls don't have time. The energies of the universe have no time. Because time is always zero. Starts through the emotion. And you run many millions of the programs together through the emotion of the physicality, which affects the reaction and emotion of the energy side of the man. Maybe mankind will understand from now on how the two timing has to become one through the emotion. I made man in the image of myself, but there is no time for me, as the time comes from the time when energies interact to create that new condition of time. Try to understand. And if you understood this, try to go back to zero, where there is no time. But you are the creator of all times. If you can do that, you can transmute. Man cannot do wrong, because once you make a decision to do wrong or to do something which is not correct, or the outcome will not be correct, or the emotion it creates does not fit, you cannot do. You cannot plan to transmute in subconscious or whatever you want to call it. I go from London to New York, there I beat the hell out of my wife. You cannot transmute, you stay where you are. I decide to go to New York and kiss my wife and adore her. Transmutation becomes very easy. One day I explain the reason and how it works. This is why I always said, with this technology you can never harm, because it's the energy of the universe created in the dimension of positiveness. In what creates, the creator never destroys. Even what it looks as a destruction is the beginning of a life for another structure. Half-life and half-time life of man, which is death, is the point of his split, as I explained before. Mankind has to understand is here to nourish the energy side for it to start a new cycle. So life does not end by the last breath. Life starts from the last breath, but what we call the half-time life of the man. But man has to understand it has two directions: physicality of the man and the dimension of energy of the soul of the man, which has the true time with itself and carries on. Try to understand how emotion from the energy side connected to the emotion from the physicality side as the place and a position can all be changed. And in the emotion, it brings a new dimension and connection between the time of the two, the energy side and the physical side. Once man understands this, man will move into the new dimension of what we call transmutation. Understanding how he can bring the two time to zero, and then decide on the condition of the transmutation of the energy or dimension of transfer through physical side. Man knows the physical side well by running and getting in the car and doing everything else. But man has not understood that in the energy side is only one kind of transmutation, and that's through the fields of the universe, cosmic rays. All get on the same train, same speed, same direction, and the same what we call position, and the place when it comes to to dimension of physicality. And if you understood this, in the future time, I'll explain in a full understanding of why even the frequencies are created, what you call frequencies. Go back to the teaching of the past. How many times I've gone back on the point saying simple. There is no frequency in the plasma. Frequency only appears when the dimension of the interaction of the fields don't match. In the plasma is unisons. It's only DC. In the next week's session, I'll bring you that to feel it. I'll let you feel that. When you're in the dimension of the plasma, and when you're in the dimension of the emotional feeling of reality of the time, while you're in the session, you will feel the emotion of the soul, and then you feel the joy of the physicality. I'll bring you a sensation you never knew. If you understand, if you feel, if you're connected to both dimensions of the energy and the soul. Those of you who received your cosmic ray bundles, come into the session with those. Those of you who have those balls, come into the session with those. Then you have the trip of your lifetime. This is why I teach you both, to understand that you have a dimension of physicality and you have a dimension of energy. The soul of the man, what we call the energy side, physicality of the man who walks on the street. And then I show you how times are created by interaction of the fields of the universe, and not by the dimension of physicality of the man. Those of you who receive the cosmic ray balls, you have it. Hopefully you should have some by next week. Send us your information, how you felt when we bring the connection of the soul of the man to the dimension of physicality of the man. The pains of it, the transmutation of it, and understanding the transfer of it. Once men understand, as a schizophrenic condition of the man with dimension of physicality and dimension of energy, one leads with the frequency and one has no frequency. And the soul connects itself through the emotion to transmute through the emotion to change that, what I call universal fields, to dimension of the physicality of the time, place and position, and the position of the fields. The true game of the energy, fields, soul of the man, the physicality of the man starts with us. I hope you enjoyed the trip, and I hope you understand what it is, what is set, and what it will be in the future time for all of you to understand the time. Time of physicality and time of the energy. And then you will understand there are no accidents. Then you understand there are no coincidences. What is coincidence to you is the collection and connection of the time of physicality with what the souls have planned to deliver from the emotion you transferred to them, for the dimension of the interaction of the two. You call it coincidence. We call it the time of judgment, as the judgment comes when the man of the crime stands in front of the judge. The time of the soul is the judge, and the time of the physicality is the criminal. And then the outcome is the judgment. In a way, the Adam and Eve, one is unaware, but fully aware of subconsciously what is done. And the time and the place and the position is the day of judgment. Something interesting I explained before, and maybe you understand. It's a crude way, in a way, the reality way of understanding. When next time you're in a car crash, when next time you hit someone by accident, you get knocked off or they get knocked off, just don't walk away. Sit down and talk to the other side and go in their backgrounds, and then you understand how the souls of them and the souls of you have brought us to be in that position of the accident. And what is the outcome of the accident down the line to the ones who were involved or be involved in that process. What you did wrong, what they did wrong, or somebody did wrong to them, for them to be there, for them to find out in the future that accident you had on the street had the outcome of the decision of the souls in their timeline. Then you understand there are no accidents. Balancing of the books. Present, future, and the past. Then you understand. Every action has a consequence and a reaction. But action is the physical side. The reaction is what the soul has registered, and it's a paytime time. Now you understand how man needs to live a pure life, because he is only aware of the physical time, and he always ignored the time of the soul. What connects man to the others as is just a puppet in the dimension of physicality. One day, once man fully understands this, man will come to understand the position, the possession, and the whole reality of the life. Silence and the emotion it creates is the dimension of the soul of the man. Man shows his reaction physically, and he had to stand for what it does in physical dimension in sequence of works through the energy side, through the soul of the man. Try to understand this and try to teach this to your children and those who understand. And then you'll find out gradually, you come to understand that how pleasant the life will become. always said, when I put my head down, I have no worries. Because whatever I had to worry about was during the daytime what I did. And to that sequence, I wait for no punishment. And if you learn that, you work with it, you walk through it, and you understand that life will bring everything needed to survive the span of the universe, let alone the physical life. Never planned and never will plan to do nothing wrong because I'm aware of what is there to be done. Everything has a sequence of work, and everything has a sequence of connection of the fields of the universe than the physicality of the life. And once you understand this, you can bring the soul of physicality of the man in emotion in parallel with the soul of the man's emotion. Then you can transmute. Transmutation is fueled by the man's conduct and the emotion, and not by petroleum and not by jet engines. You feed it through the conduct of the energy of the physicality, and you create problems for it when the physicality goes in the dimension of creation of its own problem. How many times you heard so many people tell us, I do no wrong to no one, but I don't know why it happens to me this way. Sorry, you forgot about the emotion. Your thoughts and everything which is wrong in it is an open book to the energy side. And still you get the consequence of its time and time to come. Now you understand how it works. The timing has to be right. And then the life will find its own time to deliver what it needs. Hope you understood the teaching of today. And I hope you understand what it needs to be done by the man of today for the future children of the man in the universe.